We want to talk about Mental Health Awareness Month, and our friend Shantala Boss, a licensed mental health counselor, is standing by this morning. Good to have you on again, Shantala. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Bridget?
Doing great. We've talked about so many topics, and now it's Mental Health Awareness Month. And so, what's happening in terms of Mental Health Awareness Month this year?
Well, I've been reading a book actually about where the shift is going with mental health in the 21st century. And it's really interesting because I see this a lot in my practice. It's talking a lot about overthinking and cognitive bias. And I really think that this has a lot to do with how we process information and what results in anxiety and depression. And basically, what it's talking about is we're thrown so much information in today's day and age. We have more information than we've ever had before. And so, as a result of that, we still have the same brains we had in the century before. So, our brains quickly have to process this information and categorize it because we can't spend all our time researching it, talking to people about it, looking into it. So, as a result, oftentimes we are misinformed about things. We take influencers that maybe aren't trained information, we see algorithms on our phone or through social media. And the problem is some of this information may be faulty or incorrect, and we process it incorrectly. And this can result in a lot of issues because we aren't really getting the appropriate information we need to make informed decisions. And so it's developing like a cognitive bias, which can be very detrimental. People sometimes often have it even about mental health or about mental health awareness or what it means to have anxiety or depression, trauma, all these things. And I see it going not only with adults, but a lot of times with teens more than ever, who are always on social media, of course, and are being misinformed and then almost kind of creating some forms of social anxiety or pressures that maybe they didn't have in the past because they have too much information about this and they aren't talking with their parents or adults. So I think it's really important that we are aware of this in Mental Health Awareness Month, that we look into things we're hearing, and that we are careful how we process information because it can be very detrimental.
Right, because if you are the type of person who likes to research things, likes to voraciously read or whatever it may be, consuming media, like you said, plenty of access to all of that. But then what ends up happening is people sort of diagnose themselves or diagnose people in their circles, and so that's the bias you're talking about, right? And so it could be wrong. We could be very wrong,
Yes.
or just sort of assuming things based on a couple of bullet points, but it may not actually be the case.
Yes, and sometimes, especially even, elections are coming up, political stuff, and of course, everyone has their own opinion and feeling on it. But sometimes people are hearing things and arguing something that may or may not be true, versus based on just something quick they saw online. So making sure that we look into things and that we don't develop problems in our relationship based on information we're arguing if we haven't really kind of researched it. I'm seeing that too, and people are alienating themselves, based on information that they're getting, and then other people have other information coming to them based on algorithms or whatever they're seeing. And so there's this lack of perspective when really probably they have the same viewpoint and can support each other in that, but they're being blocked by all this outside information, and it's really taking away from the personal experience. And it's not to be all negative and doom and gloom, because it's amazing too. It's amazing how much information we have and what we can do with it. It's more just about being aware of that and having these open conversations and just being careful the source of that information. It's very
Right.
important.
Especially when it comes to diagnosing yourself or concerns you may have about a loved one or someone, a colleague, but you say talk to a professional, get to a doctor, get to a counselor so that you can really unpack what's really going on.
Right. It's very important because it doesn't mean you don't have an issue going on or that you don't mentally struggle, but you just don't want to be misdiagnosing yourself or telling your doctor maybe you need medication for something that you don't. They aren't able to spend the time with you maybe that a licensed mental health counselor could. So if you go to your primary and say, I have this, they may quickly give you a medication, and that can be very detrimental. So making sure you talk with, if you feel like it's a mental condition, you see a psychiatrist or a specialist, and that you talk with a mental health professional about what you're feeling is so highly important. I think as a result of all this information coming to us too, we are very scattered in our heads. And as I was saying earlier, I think we have some disconnection with people,
Mm-hmm.
and it's because we're always in our head. I'll give you an example. I
Mm-hmm.
was doing online banking yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and I get this ad on my online banking that I get 4% off Ulta, and I'm like, oh, I need mascara. So I quickly go to the Ulta. I'm in the middle of online banking. I go to
I
Ulta and I
know.
start buying mascara. And I'm like,
Wait a minute.
wait a
What
sec,
was
I
I
have to
doing?
stop this. It's bad.
It's like, wait, why did
We're
I
always
come? Why
like
did I come here again?
2 steps in a different direction. Yeah. It's hard to be present. It's
Yeah.
hard to be in the moment, because we have so much. Oh, I got to do that. I got to do this. And we see that. And so I think we lose connection with others. And even though we're more connected than ever, we're more lonely than
Mm-hmm.
ever. Isn't that crazy?
It
So
is
the
true.
quality of our connection.
We talk
Yes.
about texting and social media, and there is still something to be said for that real talk, whether it's face to face or just picking up the phone and talking to someone over the phone versus the text messages or sending each other memes. There's the genuine connection that we still need with our family and friends and colleagues.
Yes, things can get lost in translation. And not only do we lose that personal connection and being in the moment and experiencing joy with someone, really knowing them, we also can misunderstand them. I mean, I've had clients that will have, huge meetings at work over a meme that was
Mm-hmm.
misinterpreted by someone, and it
Yeah.
wasn't meant to be that way. These are really big concerns. So we have to just be really aware of it and careful how we communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that kids are doing that. I actually see teenagers putting down their phones more and saying they're sick of social media and they
Mm-hmm.
don't want to keep their snap score up anymore because it's just too draining.
Well, that's
So
good
I
to
think I
hear.
think we will swing the other way. Yes, I think it'll get better. I really do. I know we have more and more social media and more connection, and we're like, where are we going? But we're still humans. We still long for that personal connection, close friendships, relationships. And so I think that we will slowly, I'm hoping, monitor that and be able to figure out how to control that even better in the future. Just keeping those conversations going, talking with someone about mental health that is trained if those are your concerns, and looking to what our resources are for mental health, whether it be through our insurance providers or online. There are so many different
Mm-hmm.
resources out there. Insurance companies have advocates that can help you find a
Right.
therapist that
And
fits your
I
needs.
wanted to ask you about sort of the order of events if someone is thinking about exploring their coverage or what types of options for
Hmm.
care they may need. What is the chain of command if you're saying, okay, I think that I would like to talk to somebody, maybe something happened in your life recently, or maybe you're just not dealing with your stress very well lately, or if you just noticed a change. How does someone know if it's maybe time to make a call and use those benefits toward some mental health care? Is it with your primary doctor you start and then go, or just how does that work for someone who may not be familiar? What's going to happen?
With my insurance experience, I'm on a lot of different panels with my practice Boss Wellness, but most insurance companies are very easy to access a mental health. If you turn your card over, your insurance card, you should have a 1-800 number or a 1888 number that you can call for behavioral mental health. You call that and you can find out what your benefits are. If you do need a referral from a primary care doctor, they will let you know. But more often than not, that's really not what insurance companies are asking for. You call them and you ask them, what do you have a deductible to meet? If not, what would your copay be? Or if you have a co-insurance, all those things. So you know what you would owe at the time of service. And then you can get a list of providers in your area that are in network. And a lot of times that can be overwhelming. So you can
Yeah, what
also
should you
ask. Yeah. This
do? What if
plan.
you call an office and they're filled up and they
Yeah.
can't take you?
Well, that does happen. So I think it's really important that sometimes you maybe connect with your insurance plan. They have advocates within the mental health field that can contact providers and find out if they're taking new clients. I get those emails all the time.
Mm.
So you can look into that. Or, you just have to send out a few emails to different providers, and instead of spelling your life story,
Mm-hmm.
first just ask, are you taking new clients?
Yes.
I think sometimes we spend so much time trying to tell them our backstory and then they don't take new clients yet. So doing that part, due diligence. But there are a lot of mental health providers that are taking on new clients. Virtual therapy is much more accessible now. So there's really not a shortage like there was back in 2020. And so there's never a bad time to talk to a
Yeah.
mental health professional. We all could talk to somebody.
Right. So it
So
could
I
be
think it's
for
always a good idea.
periodic time or it could be regularly.
Exactly. Just
Mm-hmm.
kind of, and having just to check in, someone to kind of bounce things off of that's neutral and objective is
Mm-hmm.
very helpful.
Very true. Well, it's
Yes.
always good to talk to you, Shantala, and we appreciate this information and hope to see you again soon.
You as well. Have a good day, Bridget.